Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Kevin Paulson, the founder and CEO of Hunting Life. He's going to chat to us today about his company and just have a good couple of minutes. So thank you for your time, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
Awesome sauce. So what is Hunting Life?
So, Hunting Life is a national magazine and online resource for hunting conservation throughout North America and the world. We've
Okay.
been around for about 17 years, and we publish a digital magazine quarterly. And of course, we have a daily news source for hunting conservation that's been online since 2006.
Okay. Ooh, that's a long time. All right, that's
Oh, yeah.
nice. So
I'm
what
one of the
is what
OG bloggers.
nice. So what is it that's in the magazine? Like what is the normal stuff that you guys go through? Is it like technique?
Depending upon the issue, I mean, like our last issue was our winter gift guide, and so gift
Okay.
guides for hunters and outdoorsmen.
Yeah.
We had an article focused on processing venison and canning
Yeah.
it for
Oh,
storage. We had other articles focused on different aspects of hunting and things like that.
yeah. Okay. And how regularly do you publish a magazine?
We publish the magazine 4 times a year.
Okay.
So every quarter, basically, March 15th, June
Mm.
15th, August 15th, November 15th.
Awesome.
And,
Awesome.
each issue is going to be slightly different based upon the seasons and what we're focused on. And then, of course, we have the huntinglife.com, which, publishes articles every single day.
Yeah.
And so we publish an average of about 20 to 30 articles every day.
Every day. Geez. Okay. That's a lot of content.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. So then if you subscribe, is it to you get like can you get like a physical copy of the magazine or is it all digital?
It's all digital at this point. I think I'd love to see a time where we get to a point where we could print a digital mag or a actual print magazine. But like if you look around print today, very few people buy print subscriptions.
Yeah.
And those that do, the print magazines have to be such a high quality that you're
Mm,
willing to put them on your coffee table and you're proud to have that magazine in your house.
that's true.
And so the magazines that, we've always seen in the hunting industry, they were kind of magazines that you hid in the bathroom. You didn't put them out and, you didn't put them out in the living room.
Yeah.
And so, if we ever produce a magazine that's going to be digital, it'll be a really, really high end version.
Yeah.
And there's a very select amount of people that are going to be willing to pay to have a magazine of that quality coming
Yeah.
into their home. And what we've seen is even the magazines that I've been a big fan of a Gear Patrol for years.
Hmm.
And Gear Patrol has produced a really, really high end magazine. It was like $20 an issue.
Yeah.
And I loved that magazine. They produced, 20 different issues over the past 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
But even this year, they're canceling. They're not going to do it in 2024.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
So
mean,
we're
oh sorry, yeah.
we're we're seeing that trend continue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, print has gone through a big struggle since the whole digital phase. It kind of is like a more archaic sort of medium. So I understand. And it's quite costly, isn't it? Like, the gloss paper and stuff. And
Mhm.
I've printed a magazine before. I had to do one for a project in school back when I was in university. And it was so hard. It was so painful. Like, it was so expensive. So I
Yeah.
understand the pain that goes behind it. It's just much easier to have a digital magazine, isn't it? Like it's on your hands, people are going to read it.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
I can produce an entire digital magazine with writers, editors, graphic design for less than $10,000 an issue.
you see, yeah. And how many
And
can you
so,
distribute it? And you just produced it once.
yeah, yeah, and I can share it, everywhere, and basically anybody can get that magazine for free,
Yeah,
and it's a win for us, and anybody can share it by just sharing a link. It's
yeah,
super easy.
yeah,
Um, I like that format. As long as it's beautifully produced, I'm the happiest
yeah,
person in the world.
yeah. Awesome. So yeah, how did hunting life begin?
It kind of began. It began almost as a mistake. um,
Okay.
so I worked in litigation support in Washington D.C. for almost 20 years,
Okay.
and during that time, I was making some money and doing very well, and so I began to give 10% of my income to wildlife conservation programs,
Okay.
organizations like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and Ducks Unlimited,
Yeah.
and I gave them a percentage of my income so that they could protect habitat across America
Mm-hmm.
for the next generation of hunters. And then during that time, I bought an outfitting business in Idaho and Montana, and I began running that with a partner. And I handled kind of sales and marketing, and he handled out on the ground operations in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 54 horses and mules and
Wow.
camps, and we took people into the wilderness to go hunting.
Okay.
And during that same time, my dad passed away. I kind of lost my passion for running that business. And so I sold it and I bought huntinglife.com that same day to kind of be an outfitter directory to help people find outfitters who were good quality outfitters so that
Yeah.
they could go on the adventure that they wanted to.
Yeah.
And during that time, the next couple of years, we went through a recession and outfitters lost a percentage of their income. And
Mm.
so they didn't have marketing money to pay an outfitter directory.
Yeah.
And so I pivoted the whole thing to be an online magazine.
Okay. Okay.
And I've been running it that way since 2010, ever since.
Wow. Okay. And you don't think you'll go back to being a directory?
No, no,
Is
no.
there?
It's
Okay.
too hard. And honestly, like, it's incredibly important in my book. If you're going to advertise outfitters, you need to vet them and
Mm,
you need to
yeah.
make sure that they're providing the quality and the level of safety that is important.
Yeah.
And the amount of money it would cost to go and vet those outfitters
It's a
just
lot.
isn't something that would make it profitable.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Um, so sorry. So now if you with your magazine, can outfitters like ask to be advertised there? Can they like pay to be advertised? Is that an option?
They can. It would have to be a very select outfitter, and it would have to be one that I've already hunted with in
I
order to allow them to advertise, because I'm staking my name
Yeah.
and my company's name basically on that business. And so
Yeah.
generally what we do is we advertise mostly product companies.
Yeah.
In our last issue, we did have a lodge that did advertise their pheasant operation in South Dakota. But
Okay.
I personally go and work there every year, so like I know the
Uh-huh.
operation really well,
Yeah.
and I do some photographic trips up there, and I'm happy to work alongside them. So advertising them is really easy.
Yeah.
The vast majority of advertisers we have are kind of big companies like Armacite or
Yeah.
Remington or Federal, or companies that are already in our industry that have proven themselves.
Okay. I like that you pay attention to whether you vetted them or not. Like it makes sense to, make sure that you trust the source because obviously people trust you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fair point. Okay. So, what is the long-term vision? I mean, you said you've been in business for what, 17 years?
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
so what's the end goal for Hunting Life?
I think the end goal for Hunting Life is to get to a point where, I mean, we are a national news source and we are known throughout the country. We have about 350,000 followers across social media.
Wow.
And so, like, our goal really is to, double that and ultimately double our traffic. I think
Hmm.
what will ultimately happen is, at some point, we'll get to a point where somebody else will buy us out.
Yeah.
And, with a cadre of writers and things like that, that they'll be able to, grow our footprint exponentially.
Yeah. I'm
I've
I'm
always
interested.
run this as a very small operation. And
Yeah.
so it's always been, me and some freelance writers
Yeah.
and some freelance programmers.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I've kept it very small,
Yeah.
almost on purpose.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get to a point where somebody will see our brand and they'll be like, oh, if we put venture capital into this, we could grow it to be a very, very large site.
Yeah.
And I think that will ultimately be what happens.
Yeah. So you said almost on purpose. Why do you choose to keep it small? I'm just interested.
From my perspective, it was much easier to run.
Mm,
While I built huntinglife.com, in the beginning in 2010, when I was really started focusing on it, I was a single parent. And so
okay.
raising my kids was priority number one,
Yeah.
and running the business was priority number two.
Yeah.
And so it was much easier to keep it small. And now I don't have those concerns in the same way.
Yeah.
So it is growing. And but there is a certain amount of like, do I want to bring in employees, and
Mm,
do I want to bring in venture capital and continue to run that myself? Probably not.
yeah.
I enjoy the world that I'm in right now, where I don't have those kinds of demands. I don't have an office filled with people that I have to worry about payrolls and things like
Yeah.
that. I can kind of run it, in a boutique way.
Yeah.
And I think it has a certain amount of charm. We have a certain amount of integrity in the industry, specifically because I've run it that small.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I think we could be as big as like a Gear Patrol or a Gear
Yeah.
Junkie or one of those type, or a Meat Eater type website that
Yeah.
is exponentially much bigger.
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, it's going to take venture capital to do that, and that's not something I've wanted to play in that world.
Yeah. Must be hard. I mean, you've grown it from for so long that you must be so attached to it now that the thought of letting it go must be like a little bit difficult, right?
A little bit. I don't think I'm at a stage today where I'm going to let it go.
Yeah.
I just don't think that our numbers, there's, in order for, I mean, looking at venture capital, looking at, exiting or a merger and acquisition, I've
Hmm.
met with some of those people, and I know in order to get the price that I want for the business,
Mm.
we have to be at a certain level for traffic, and we have to be at a certain level of revenue. And
Yeah.
we have that goal in mind, and I think that we'll get there
Of
within the
course.
next 3 to 5 years. I think that when that happens, what will probably happen on my perspective is, I will hand it over. I'll sign a non-compete specifically in this particular industry,
Yeah.
and I'll get to go focus on building another website that is in a
Yeah.
different industry.
Awesome. Awesome. That's
I don't think
exciting.
I'll ever not be an outdoor writer, or I'll ever not be an outdoor publisher or some
Yeah.
kind of a publisher. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
because it's just, I write about the things that I'm passionate about,
Mm.
and I do the things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And for me, I've been very, very lucky in that I've been able to make an income and a living doing that for years and years and years.
Amazing. Amazing. So what are some of the challenges that you guys are facing at huntinglife.com at the moment?
Our biggest challenge is going to be, I mean, of course, traffic
Mm.
and search engine optimization. We're always dealing with you know doing everything we can to appease the the Google gods, basically, and making sure that people can find the articles that we produce,
Yeah.
uh, and put those in front of our audience.
Mm.
Learning how to produce the content in the right way for TikTok or for YouTube or for
Mm.
Facebook, or making sure that um, our content fits the algorithm that allows more eyes to come and see our content.
Yeah. Awesome.
And
Awesome.
being in hunting and shooting and the outdoors,
Hmm.
we do run afoul of Google doesn't promote, won't really do much to promote hunting. Facebook doesn't really want to promote hunting.
Okay, I didn't know
They don't see anything having to do with guns and ammo and things like that. They
that. Mm.
see that as violence,
Yeah.
and it's not a fit for they believe it's not a fit for average society. Now, that being said, during COVID, we saw the largest numbers and increase in America in regards to people going hunting. And the reason
Oh.
why was because, when you have food scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
people realize, like, hey, wait a minute, I could do what my ancestors did, and I can go out
Yeah.
into the fields and I can
Yeah.
hunt my own food and bring it home to my family.
Yeah.
And so the numbers during that period almost doubled.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I was gonna ask you actually. That was my one of my questions. Would you say that like the number of people that hunt has gone up or down like since COVID? Would you or before
Well,
COVID?
yeah. So during COVID, the numbers went drastically up.
Yeah.
Now that COVID has subsided, it has dropped back down to kind of a base level.
Okay.
I would say that numbers for hunting as a whole
Yeah.
have slowly decreased based
Mm,
upon the increase in population. So
yeah.
if you looked at like a percentage, less and less people are hunting. And
Yeah.
ultimately it's because you have a lot more distractions, and you have a
Yeah.
lot more people living in suburbs and cities
Yeah.
than in rural America.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a city
We
girl.
are
So
seeing a vast increase though in more minorities coming into hunting.
really?
And I'm here for it. Like I in
Yeah.
100 million ways. Like please come.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because ultimately, if hunting is going to survive going into 2050, 2070,
Mm-hmm.
etc., 2100, if
Mm-hmm.
hunting is going to survive, all people in America need to realize the value of hunting as a
Yeah.
conservation tool.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize that hunting as a whole, and in fact, the sale of guns and ammunition, there
Mm-hmm.
is an excise tax that is given by the federal government. It's an 11% tax. And
Oh.
that money, that tax money that is collected on all ammunition sales, on all hunting equipment, on all gun sales, that
Mm-hmm.
money is then donated specifically to wildlife conservation programs throughout the United States and given
Oh.
back to the states to purchase land habitat for wildlife, to do wildlife projects and research and things like that. So the reason that we have public lands and the reason that we have great clean waterways is
Mm-hmm.
because hunters and fishermen across America pay this excise tax on every single thing that they purchase. And that
Yeah.
money is then pooled and put into a giant pot that is then doled out across America to pay for wildlife conservation. So that local state park that you get to walk through and go on a hike in, that was
Mm-hmm.
paid for by hunters and ultimately shooters.
Yeah. I did
The
not know
clean
that.
waterways that you get to go fishing in or you get
Mm.
to go boating in, that was paid for by fishermen.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm learning because I've never really been in the hunting space.
Yeah.
You're actually the second person I've ever interviewed that has that's in the hunting industry. So I'm learning so much about this like new world that I didn't know about. So it's really interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Well, and that's
Um.
one of the reasons that I built huntinglife.com, was so that we could spread the message of
Yeah.
what the North American conservation model truly is,
Yeah.
and why things like why the Roberts Pittman Act, which was created in 1933, and why the Johnson Dingell Act, on fishing tackle, was
Yeah.
created in 1935, why those acts were created and what they mean to society today.
Yeah.
Literally $12 billion was created because of these programs, and that
Wow.
money specifically goes to fund wildlife conservation throughout North America.
That's so cool. Okay. So, lastly, before we wrap things up, Kevin, is there any sort of assistance that you would like from our community?
I'm always looking for ideas on, what we could be doing to, grow our website, to grow our reach, to grow our
Mm,
audience,
mm,
and, grow exponentially without having to, go down that route of venture capital, et cetera.
yeah.
Um, you know, in certain circumstances, I think I'd be willing to give up some equity in order to, bring on the right partner.
Yeah.
but I don't want to go down a world where I have to go raise funds in
Mm,
order to, grow us to be an exponential corporation, or I don't want to bring on a staff of 20 people in
yeah.
order to, grow this website.
Yeah.
I kind of want to continue to run it in the best possible way
Yeah.
that allows us to, maintain, our editorial voice
Yeah.
and, get us to a level where, we are successful. A
Yeah.
big part of running a website these days, you get revenue basically two ways. You get it through sponsorship. And of course, we have a media kit and we have a sales
Mhm.
team
Yeah.
that goes out and, brings in advertisers to our magazine.
Yeah.
But the second way in which we bring in revenue is obviously affiliate traffic.
Yeah.
And so, people come in, they read an article that I wrote about, Yeti cooler
Hmm.
and how great that cooler is. And, I only really write about products that I believe in.
Yeah.
And so people read that article and then they click on the link and they buy a Yeti cooler. And,
Yeah.
we make some pennies and I'm the happiest person in the world. And, it works out for us.
Yeah.
I would love to find ways to exponentially increase the success of those programs
Okay.
and and make them work. And so I think
Yeah.
that the next big freelancer that we bring into our team is probably going to be like an affiliate manager who could come in and help us to go back through the 18,000 articles that we have created in the past 14 years
Yeah.
and take those articles and link them with affiliate traffic, et cetera, and optimize
Yeah.
some of those articles in the
Yeah.
most efficient way.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kevin. Thank you for educating me, and I'm sure everybody else who's going to be watching this. And yeah, I wish you all the best in the future. Honestly, I think you guys have, some incredible work, clearly. And yeah, I love it. I think I need to do more research because I genuinely have no idea. I'm such a
Well,
like,
and I take a lot of first time hunters out into the field.
uh-huh.
And so if you ever want to go hunting, like I am happy to take you.
I would
And,
love that.
I think that, some of the best joy I get in life is taking people who have never been hunting out for
Yeah.
their very first hunting experience and
Hmm.
showing them like what hunting truly is and what it's about. And then also taking, once we're successful,
Mm,
taking that meat from that animal and
mm,
helping you to be able to bring it into your kitchen and make a meal and feed your family.
yeah.
Because that's the true gift of hunting is that you get to eat what you kill.
Yeah. Awesome. I think I love the fact that you're so passionate about it because like hunting has such a bad PR. Like everyone just kind of like I know that I grew up and I was like, "Oh, you hunt? That's weird." So I love that you pay attention to that like you get to eat what you don't waste. It's not wasteful. It's not violent. It's not bad. It's something natural. Our ancestors did it, and we might be in a situation in the future again where we might have to do that. So it's always it's a critical skill that people should have. I get that. So I
Well,
guess,
and I've hunted all over the world. So I've gotten to hunt in North America. I've gotten to
okay.
hunt in Canada. I've been able to go to Hungary and see what hunting is like in Europe. I've been
Yeah.
to Cameroon, Africa.
Wow.
And when we were in Cameroon, Africa, I was there to actually film another hunter. And
Okay.
so he was hunting, and I was there with the camera, and I was, filming the entire thing. One
Mm-hmm.
of the quick realizations I had in Cameroon was that all of the meat that particular hunter got to take was
Mm-hmm.
all donated to the local villages, and it
Wow.
fed local villages in Cameroon, Africa. And I mean, we brought an entire buffalo into a village, and
Yeah.
that buffalo is going to feed almost 1,000 people. And
Wow.
it's just an amazing gift that they would
Yeah.
not have that protein for their children, for their families, without the benefit of hunters.
Yeah.
And
That's
the conservation of hunting in Africa and in internationally is very different than in North America.
yeah.
But we have kind of a statement about hunting that we utilize in Africa and we utilize in Pakistan and in foreign countries, which is if it pays, it stays. And so, like, if you look at a local village in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
people talk about lion hunting and how horrible it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a different view.
Mm-hmm.
My view is that if you're a local village and you have a lion near your village that comes in and eats a cow and takes that away from the
Yeah.
village wants to go out and hunt the lion,
Yeah.
and they want to kill the lion because they want to protect their cows.
Yeah.
What they're now doing instead is that they can call the outfitter, and an
Mm-hmm.
outfitter brings in a hunter
Mm-hmm.
from America or from Europe, and that hunter comes in and he shoots the lion
Mm-hmm.
and then gives the village A, money, and
Okay.
B, the meat from that animal.
Yeah.
And then the village is like, okay, this works for us. And everybody
Oh,
wins. And when you
yeah.
can create situations that where you utilize hunting as a tool where
Yeah.
everybody wins,
Yeah.
then you created something really, really great.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I could speak to you all day. I did not know this.
No problem. Well, and please follow us on social media. We're at Hunting Life on almost every platform.
Okay,
You can come to huntinglife.com and check out our website.
definitely.
I'm always available to people. Kevin at huntinglife.com is my email.
Hmm.
And, I'm happy to answer questions for people all across the board. There are always going to be people that, absolutely dislike hunting.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, we're not, I'm not immune to that fact.
Yeah.
We understand it. The reality, though, is that if you look at the facts and if you look at the science of hunting,
Mm,
and if you look at, managing hunting through the use of science
mm,
and take emotion out of it,
hmm.
hunting does some really, really great things across this world.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell. Well, I think we only just tapped the top of it, but thank you so much, Kevin, honestly, for sharing. I really do appreciate it. You've really opened my mind. So I will go down this rabbit hole. But I appreciate your time and I wish you all the best in future.
Easy, you take care of you, and it's good talking to you today. Thank you so much for interviewing us.
Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.